Oi. Boa tarde. My name is Josh Solt. I am Partner Development Manager, Google Play, and I manage kids' apps and games. So today, I'll be talking about optimizing for a post-install world. Namely, how do you retain and engage families in your ecosystem? So you've spent a lot of time, effort, resources getting a user to ultimately download your app, right? It's quite the process. There's motivation, discovery, expectation, search, filter, and then finally the download. So what about after the download? So let's look at the user funnel. We got the view listing, install, open the app. Today, I really want to focus on the bottom two, engaging with your app and retention. I have a number of different case studies partners have been willing to share with us, and hopefully some great facts and data that you'll find interesting for your businesses. So since acquisition costs are high, it's really important to engage your most loyal users. Optimizing the lifetime value of your traffic is key for acquisition campaigns and making it most cost effective. So this is a pretty staggering stat. 50 to 90% of app users have churned after just 30 days. So just let that sink in for a moment. No matter how great your app is, that's just how it is. And that's really the struggle that a lot of developers find and lays the groundwork for what we're going to talk about today. So what are some of the key reasons for churn? First of all, there's poor technical quality. Another one is inefficient or unclear value proposition. Thirdly, outdated content or functionality, not personalized, and also too many push notifications. All of these can cause major headaches for your business, and we're going to address them today. So the format of this presentation is really threefold. I'm going to start off by talking about user onboarding. We actually just had a great presentation from 01 Digital. They talked about how they're thinking through onboarding, and we have some great data from Budge Studios as well. Second of all, we're going to talk about successfully releasing new features and content, how PBS Kids is thinking through that and other partners. And then finally, we're going to talk about re-engaging users. So to start off, how to make user onboarding great, and thank you again for your presentation. So now that you've had a user download your title, it's time to make sure they keep using it. And thinking through the tutorial and registration is key. On the tutorial side, focus on the value and make it fun and simple. Also, allow users to skip the demo and see it later as an option. And be sure to explain ancillary features and make sure it's relevant to the user and focus on your top metric. And then this will be a common theme through today is just really testing, and iterate for your best D1 and D7 retention. On the registration side, be sure that you show value for the information asked. So what does the user get? And don't bar access. And optimize your onboarding value proposition. So you really have to focus on getting your user to engage with your app in an instant. It's a very competitive world out there, as we know. We were just talking about how much competition there is in the market. So you really have to differentiate yourself that way. So familiarize new users with your app by designing a simple and easy onboarding process. Make it fast and seamless, contextual, and part of the product experience. Also, ask for minimal input while gathering the information you need to create engagement. So one great example is a developer out of Montreal, Canada, called Budge Studios. Budge Studios has created their own IP, and they're also licensing such prominent IP as Hello Kitty and Caillou, as well as Thomas the Train. So a few of the things that Budge Studios thinks through. One is fast time to fun. Really, how do you get someone into the app quickly? How do you get them having fun right away? The first playable moment is really critical here, and early wins to build a user's confidence is key. We'll touch about this later as well. So be sure to cut the unnecessary steps to your process, and for effective onboarding, you also need to check for drop-offs. So in terms of Budge Studios, they want to get players in the game faster and be wary of drop-off. And really one key metric here is to find the right value for first-time user experience. And this actually was not the case originally with Miss Hollywood. They found that it was too hard, this title, for preschoolers. So by making the first-time experience easier, they actually increased their first-time retention by 11%. That 11% actually accounts for millions of additional minutes of play. And test. Like we were saying, you got to keep testing. Budge Studios, through their rigorous testing, was able to find that an initial game loop included 5 characters, one of which had issues with their microphone permissions. So after adjusting this permission and fixing it, they saw an increase to 74% of first-time users in this loop compared to 25% in the previous loop. And we had the honor of having Play Kids present here earlier today. They're another great example in terms of focusing on user onboarding, and they spent a lot of time running tests to update their onboarding value proposition. So here you have the old onboarding and then the new one that they rolled out. The new version actually took their conversion rate from 0.4 all the way up to above 0.7%. And this pop-up that you see, which really laid out their value proposition in a more clear fashion, that increased their sales by 81%. So 81% increase in sales by just improving your pop-up is a pretty staggering number. So in terms of onboarding, you can test using onboarding flows with Firebase remote config. You can run A/B test experiments or change app behavior, control custom key value pairs from the console, and make changes that are instant. Another key factor that not everyone's really taking advantage of are avatars. I love this quote from Play Science. It says, when children were asked to design their own app, the feature that they listed as the most important was the ability to create their own avatar. Yet few of the top playful games offer this unique feature, suggesting a great opportunity for developers. And here I'd like to point to Roblox, another prominent developer based in the US. They have been really focused on their avatar, and as soon as a user interacts with their app, they give them control to customize it. So what have been the results? Well, this is pretty staggering once again. 60% of new signups customize their avatar, and out of that 60%, they're seeing that the retention rate is 1.8 times better, almost 2x the other user group. Next, I would like to talk about how to engage and retain families through successfully releasing new features and content. Once again, Roblox is a great example here. They have a systematic release methodology. They test it with beta users, so making sure that you're really getting out there, testing it with the right user community that's appropriate for your ages, right? Making sure it's technically stable, show what's new, and lastly, analyze that performance. PBS Kids is really a great example of a developer out there who's refreshing content and updating it on a regular basis. They add new games weekly. They have seasonal updates around big moments, Halloween, Christmas. Here it can be Day of Kids, a number of other moments, and be sure to update around that. And be sure to update your icons. We saw some of the results that Play Kids had in terms of updating their icons, and that's low-hanging fruit. If you can improve your conversion rate 78%, like they're saying, that's pretty tremendous and not a tremendous amount of work. So the key question is there enough value in your app? I wanted to point to this example of Budge Studios. This is a graph that showed retention. The top number is when they gave away 3 free items, and the bottom is when they gave away 2. So as you can see, that really spiked their numbers. This isn't necessarily what a lot of developers think. There's usually the perception that you have to limit a lot of the free content, but we're actually finding otherwise, and this is some great data from Bud Studios, that the first time experience was better, and that actually led to greater retention, engagement, and ultimately revenue by actually giving away that third character. And the third part I'd like to talk about is re-engaging users and leveraging your key channels. So be sure to ensure that all your organic channels are being clearly marketed using Android, and update your existing channels, including email, website, social, and YouTube. Here we have some examples from Roblox. They have an inbox in their app, and so they're able to push notifications directly to the user. Some other examples include what they're doing on social media and YouTube. A lot of developers aren't really leveraging the About page on their YouTube page. So that About page is a great place to link to your Google Play listing. You can also link to your website, social media accounts. It's easy, and we've seen some strong results out of that. Roblox is also using social media, as I mentioned before, form of Facebook, Twitter, and they're also doing YouTube cards. YouTube cards can pop up on the side of your videos if you're running different videos on YouTube. Those are free to use, and another great way to re-engage users, bring them back to your store listing page on Google Play. Toca Boca also provides a great example of how a top premium developer is leveraging their ecosystem to really push new titles out. And a great example of that is their Toca Life series. They have a number of different Toca Life apps, including Toca Life Town, Toca Life Vacation, and they actually just released Toca Life Farm, which is one of our top premium titles currently on Google Play. So Toca Life is a series of apps that gives kids access to role-playing universe filled with everyday fun. It's uniquely created for kids, and it's was really a direct result of communicating with their fan base and taking user feedback. So since the release of the first app in May 2014, Toca Boca has received more than 60,000 feature requests and reviews from kids all over the world. And it's feedback that has informed their Toca Life series and has brought us these titles. And this title, Toca Life Vacation, was their most successful launch ever. And it's really because they leveraged their previous ecosystem. So 32% of users downloading Toca Life Vacation had downloaded had downloaded all of the previous 3 apps. And 38% of users downloading Toca Life Vacation had downloaded 1 or 2 of those previous apps. So be sure that your cross promotion is really on point. Once again, test and make sure that it's relevant and driving the benefits that you're going for. Another one is using rich notifications to bring users back to your app. So a few best practice here is include actionable content, deep linking to the right part of your app, stacking similar notifications and avoid spamming, and testing. So what are the things to do with notifications? Well, 1, get users familiar. 2, consider reactivation. 3, try to make an emotional connection. 4, include actionable content. 5, deep link. And 6, really consider your audience. This is especially important in the kids and family space. And then just 4 things that you want to avoid and not do with notifications are: don't push spam notifications, don't forget to expire notifications, don't push ads, house ads are permitted though, and don't leave notifications up to guesswork. So the case study here that I wanted to highlight on the notification and messaging side is Speakaboos. They utilize a combination of notifications, emails, push, and social media to reinforce a message that furthers their brand. For Speakaboos, each touch point is designed to motivate a love of reading by connecting children to their interests. So Speakaboos push notification, this example, it's fun, it's irreverent. They said, did you know it's World Pasta Day? So that really activated their user base. They also time it with new content releases, exclusive content, holiday events, and discounts. And they've seen strong results from their push notifications as well as from their messaging. They regularly test A/B results, analyze those metrics, and optimize based on a variety of factors. And this has resulted in a nice uplift. So new story day for Speakaboos is an email that promotes special and exclusive content. That has driven a 5% increase in click rates. And content that makes a use of appropriate hashtags is another key to this. Overall, they've seen a 60% increase with web traffic when it's paired with social accounts for 5% of monthly traffic. So I hope that was helpful. I know we covered a lot of things. Wanted to include a lot of case studies and data from some of our top partners. Hopefully in next presentation, next time we come down here, we'll include more data from a lot of you guys. We know this is collaborative, but just to reiterate, the 3 key things that we really encourage you to think through are onboarding, new features and content releases, and re-engaging your users. So thank you very much.